Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Steph and this is Real Talk Tarot. It's my very first set of videos. Today I've just been incredibly inspired to speak to what I'm going to call the divine feminine. I think that that's a term that a lot of people can readily identify with in the YouTube tarot culture, so I'm just going to put it out there. But really this video is intended for you. Like literally you. You've shown up, you were attracted to this video, and so I'm focusing my intention and really opening myself up to the divine to be able to translate and interpret specific messages based on the individuals that are going to click on this video. We're multi-dimensional, and we really truly do have the power to attract people in our future moments in the now. And so this is me experimenting with that revelation of self, and I think if you clicked onto this video, I think you're sort of probably already in the same state of mind, really seeing magic as something less mystical these days. Mystical implying air of mystery that is not understood, but sort of unveiling that mysterious layer where it becomes that much more tangible and readily available to use in this material realm, in this 3D physical plane. And so, again, if you're here, let's tap on in. I'm going to pick up the cards here, some tarot, and we'll see what comes out. I think that's really what we're focusing on right now as a collective, as a divine feminine collective. We're really trying to tap in again to this vision, this overarching vision of what happiness means to us, and fully accepting that happiness, along with every other emotion, simply when it comes down to it, is just a state of mind. Happiness is a state of mind. It really doesn't matter what's going on around you. So many people take for granted, the blessings that come in their life, are fixated on the lack, that they just simply don't have the eyes to see that they are one of the blessed few. But happiness is a state of mind, and I think that's something that the divine feminine in particular is really digging their teeth into. King of Swords. This is a popular fellow these days. I've been doing a lot of tarot readings for myself, but King of Swords came out in my first video, my Virgo video for Virgo season. But I think this is an energy that I'm just getting that the feminines are really starting to embody their positive masculine traits. Maybe a lot of us as feminines have been living out our day-to-day, within our daily realities, with more of a distorted feminine, embodying more of the distorted feminine, working more closely with our egos rather than taking a moment to shut everything out in order to listen to the divine, which is truly within our feminine nature. But I think in weeks, months leading up to this very present moment, we've forgotten that our power rests and our commitment to maintaining that connection to our higher selves, to the divine. And in order to balance out, there always has to be a counteraction. When we feel out of balance, the action taken to rebalance is to look in the other direction. And what's opposite of feminine but masculine, right? Our own individual sense of masculinity. And the masculine is the pursuer, right? The masculine pursues, whereas the feminine receives. there's many other factors, you know, that differentiate masculine and feminine, but I'm really being drawn to the pursuing quality, you know, that a positive aspects of a masculine, in terms of pursuit, is really, and in particular with the King of Swords, as a masculine energy who becomes very clear first on what he aims to pursue, so that he doesn't become distracted or confused somewhere down the line. Because there will always be distractions. You know, there's no clear-cut path to any single destination, but that's the beauty and value of staying connected to the divine, is having this inner compass and true knowing where you're headed, you know, so that distractions cannot throw you off, can't bait you in. You know, you have to remain connected in order to really follow your true north. Another theme that came up in my Virgo video. Sorry, somebody's home. Just 1 second here. I apologize about that. Somebody is home, the barking will stop. Again, distractions, right? Trying to throw you off path. But if you really are connected in a tangible way to that destination, in a sense, and it becomes more of a sensation that isn't so easy to forget when it becomes a part of you, something that you've swallowed and digested, a destination that you've visualized over and over and over again, that it really becomes part of you. And there is no doubt. The doubt dissipates that you will reach that destination. And it really is, again, just staying very, very, very true to what that is for you as an individual. And although the king here is representative of the masculine, he more is just representing, you know, the succession of the suit of swords. In this case, page of swords to knight of swords to queen, and king is the peak. Not that masculine is higher by any means, in hierarchy somehow to the feminine. It is just how the tarot is set up. But it's a true representation of full embodiment of a suit of swords, of clarity, of nobility, of honesty, of truth. King of Swords is the pursuer of truth. So that's a great first energy, you know, initial energy, overall energy. I think I'm actually going to put him over here. That feels good. I think he has an overall energy here that we're, you know, if you're here, I think you're resonating with that. Really just looking at all of the ways, all of the factors in which you have fallen off track or veered from the path, you know, distractions that have either pulled on your heartstrings or shown up in habits that have been incredibly difficult to break. You know, a lot of those habits that are so hard to break are so hard because we have so many associations, you know, friendships that depend on continuing to show up to that habit. You know, people in your life that expect you to continue to show up. You know, that expectation can be something very hard to shake off and refuse. You know, because there's a lot of potential in breaking bonds. You know, if you only see somebody, you know, at this one particular bar on a Friday night, but decide for yourself that, you know, you want to spend your Friday nights doing something else, You know, you have to be willing to accept that those relationships are going to, you know, just simply collapse out of just sheer, you know, negligence, and not in a purposeful or intentionally hurtful way, you know. But if you're not showing up to grow and continue to feed that connection, you know, its potency tends to dissipate. And that can be very hard depending on how attached you are to those individuals. But again, just being led back to this King of Swords energy is someone who, you know, has really already thought of these things, really has taken every consideration, you know, every detail into consideration about the decisions that he knows he needs to make. You know, but he's not the Knight of Swords. He's not gallivanting around and just going in search of anything to cut off, you know, out of rage or some sort of urgency. You know, he knows that he is so clear in his vision, he's so clear on his path and how that feels in his heart, that he knows that the opportunities to make those severances will come in stride. And he is not getting up. He's not going anywhere, you know, he's not getting up to go anywhere anytime soon. He's very much seated in this throne, very much in his power. So yeah, a very, very positive masculine energy, just to start off talking about the divine feminine. And I think it's something that is we're truly coming to learn to embody and embrace our masculine side. Because as feminines, we really can spiral into a lot of negative traits of feminine, which we'll get into as they come up. Yeah. This can be, you know, this speaks to exactly that. Negative traits of our femininity can be our, you know, it really is a double-edged sword. Our emotions, our ability to feel, to be connected to our emotional body, you know, leads us to moments of bliss, but also moments of just utter pain. But pain is something that shows up as much for us as anything, you know. There's a positive aspect to even the Three of Swords, because when something shows up, when something takes so much of our attention, you know, nothing like pain to really engulf you, to take all of your attention. Grief, loss, betrayal is very consuming to deal with the emotions when it comes to those factors. You know, it can be very consuming. But it's consuming not simply to ruin your life or to break you down. It's consuming because it just makes you so much more available to look at it. To look at it by feeling through it. But also to know that it becomes so much easier to feel the hard things, to look at the hard truths, when you're already embodying this energy of someone who has clear direction and is not going to fall victim to the negative energy itself by feeling through it. You know, so situated in truth, you know, and a higher dimensional reality, has incorporated, you know, layers of dimension into their immediate reality, is really able to look at the big picture. You know, it's one thing to be going through it. to be feeling pain and to be consumed by it. It's another to then remove yourself and look at it from a higher perspective, to look at the storm cloud as a whole instead of every single raindrop that beats upon you. You know, to look at the storm cloud from above it and to see that it doesn't engulf the whole sky. In fact, it's being carried by the wind. It's being taken away. It was brought in and will be removed just as quickly. It's just, in a sense, really weathering the storm and keeping firm connection, keeping firm grounding, anchoring yourself to your connection to your higher self, to the divine, to that higher perspective. And trust. Trust that the time will come, the inspiration will come, the planets keep spinning. The planets never stop spinning. Energy never stops shifting. Nothing sticks around forever. There will be a moment, there will be a revelation. You know, there will be a moment where an aha moment that really catapults you, you know, on your path towards your true north. And if you're not here yet, you know, if you haven't come to terms with all of, you know, these these pricks, you know, these daggers, if you haven't come to terms with it yet, you know, just know that right now is the space to do it. Virgo season is the perfect space to just be alone and get in your feels with the door closed. You know, you don't have to share this with anyone. No one has to see your tears. You don't, you know, I think we're all in this space of really just dealing with our inner wounds right now, that as much space as we can allow for ourselves and give to others, the better. And certainly not, you know, abandoning anyone, but most importantly, recognizing that all the time we spend without giving ourselves time to look at these hurts and heal that pain is self-abandonment. You know, we're so afraid of abandoning others, but we so readily abandon ourselves. And that is also part of divine feminine energy, or just feminine energy in general, is presence, emotional availability, right? But the nurturing and the caring of that availability is contingent on how much time, attention you've given to yourself, availability that you've shown yourself. Again, I just want to say welcome. I'm going to call these wellness checks. I'm just feeling very inspired. I've been doing tarot for myself just, you know, at least once or twice a day, really just to check in with myself. And it's been a way to reinforce that anchor to the divine, to fortify that connection, by really just removing myself from my egoic thoughts, my chaotic thoughts that just want to take me anywhere in any direction. And I've just been witnessing myself latching onto thoughts that, you know, even if they are true, even if they do lead to some sort of inevitable truth, the process by which I'm being taken is so jarring and so destructive that it just really simply isn't worth it. You know, if there's really a truth, if there's really something for you to know, the divine will tell you. All you have to do is ask. All you have to do is disconnect from chaotic energies around you, and tune in. Just simply ask to be connected. Sit in a quiet space, take a couple deep breaths, you know, put on some soothing music, look up solfeggio frequencies. A lot of them are linked to your chakras, and just select one by your intuition. Be drawn, be led, be guided. And that's really what meditation is about. It isn't this effort at all. The effort is just simply providing yourself space to be alone. What comes there is just, again, trust that by simply asking to be plugged in to the divine, for the divine to literally plug into you, it is immediate. It is immediate. And ask for your thoughts to be erased. Focus on the silence, and then listen for the soft voices that come in and start to tell you beautiful things. Provide you a layer of perspective that things really do start to make sense in a very tangible way, and you don't need physical evidence for proof. When something is true, that's a feeling. Truth is a state of mind. It has to be. Because doubt is a state of mind, right? But if there's anything to trust, it's your own inner knowing. Right? King of Cups, another individual that just really wants to show up. King of Cups has been a prominent player. I am being drawn to the Emperor's pulling up to just speak about the masculine. This reading is for Divine Feminine, but what I know that most all of you are dealing with your counterpart. If you've been led here, you are dealing with somebody who has probably caused a lot of those pricks in the Three of Swords, But only those that are closest to us can, right? Only those that we share our most intimate spaces with, can inflict any type of meaningful pain. They can throw you into a tizzy. They can throw you into a never-ending storm. The King of Cups here, the Emperor. The King of Cups is looking towards the Emperor. The King of Cups is looking, just as we're here, looking to our higher selves, looking towards our divinity for answers. He's seated here, doing the same thing, in his own way. Absolutely in his own way. The King of Cups is sitting here, acknowledging his evasive tendencies when it comes to his emotions. Those are cold, hard truths, right? There's quite a difference between the King of Cups and the King of Swords. The King of Cups can be so overwhelmed with contained, controlled emotion that it becomes too much to bear. It becomes a whole ocean, his throne is literally situated in the middle of the ocean. That's an accumulation of contained emotion. Although the ocean is vast and hardly contained, it just is depicted here as something that is just, it is not released. It is controlled. And it is so controlled that it is able to hold up this solid structure, his throne. It is so contained and concentrated that he is able to it is, solid enough for him to sit upon. And, maybe there's a sense of power in that, to look at your emotion, but also have the power not to react. There is a power in that. But there is also a fine line between composure, right? Containment and composure. I think that the King of Swords here is truly someone who embodies composure. You know, the King of Swords is not devoid of emotion by any stretch of the imagination, but he is able to keep a level of composure about his emotions, so that again, he does not become distracted by, you know, the emotions that are being projected onto him by others. You know, it's one thing to have your own emotions to deal with. It's another to project yours and then attract emotional projection from others. That's so chaotic. You know, that's sort of how the storm brews. You know, BREW, you know? Yeah. You know, the storms are brewing. But that's how it happens. That's how the Three of Swords really comes to be. When you're so emotionally reactive that, you know, you might really feel justified to prick and slice and cut up somebody, you know, for betraying you. But just know that the moment you pick up that sword, the moment you pick up that dagger and drive it into somebody else's heart, as justified as you may feel, it is only going to attract a dagger to be drawn into yours. You know, you can't expect, you know, you gain the taste of your own medicine, you know. But you can't blame an individual for coming at you with the same energy that you came at them. Anyway, I feel like I'm getting away with myself. Okay, a couple things are happening here. So the King of Cups and the Emperor is one energy, and I think that that's all of our individual masculines. The King of Cups is trying to figure out how to really control the situation. Take it by its horns. You know, the Emperor, you know, if the King of Swords is somebody that's entirely seated within his throne, you know, and it takes a lot to move a King of Swords. But I would say an Emperor is the CEO. The Emperor sits back and, you know, addresses the blueprint to solve issues, stays seated at his desk and uses, you know, remote means of communication to do what needs to get done. He is not one to get his hands dirty, so to speak. So I think the King of Cups is really having an internal conversation about how to truly manage the situation from the inside out. And I think a lot of that has everything to do with how he's been dealing with his own emotions. And he's looking to his highest self. He's looking to the divine in his own way to find answers about what. I mean, what else would it be? The king, you know, the masculine wouldn't have shown up as the King of Cups, you know, being consumed by his emotions if it wasn't directed towards any sort of desire or wish. And he's had a taste of this lover's energy. He's had a taste, you know, and he's taken it for granted. He knows he let it slip away when he was busy denying, rejecting his emotions, you know, to live a simpler life, you know. Someone, masculine or feminine, who is unseasoned, you know, has a lack of experience in parsing through your emotions, can certainly have a tendency to just want to shut it all away and live a lighter life, you know, even if it is entirely an illusion, you know, even though, you know, the depth of the ocean is still absolutely felt in every moment of every single day. There's this desire to forget it all, you know, to live simply on the surface, because the ocean beneath your feet is just far too much. It's just far too deep. You could certainly drown in that ocean, you know. And I think that that's what he's really having to come to terms with, is, you know, the depths of his own emotion have become so deep, so untended to. It's becoming this uncharted territory, this alien world that is just too unknown, too scary. It's a lot. It's a lot. But like never before, he's really being prompted to just go there, in spite of all the fear. And it really takes this warrior, you know, relentless Mars, just initiate, this initiative energy to, you know, dive head first. He knows there's no other way to do it. There's no, you know, he's like even sitting here trying to dip his toe in to like test the waters, like, okay, how bad is this really gonna be? And just dip my little tippy toe in there. You know, just kind of like, you know, when your friends are at the pool and they're like, okay, we're gonna jump in, 1, 2, 3, and then nobody jumps in. That's the energy I'm picking up here. He wants to. You know, there's a lot of thrill at the same time, and exploring that and feeling that rush, you know, of cold water on your skin, that adrenaline rush of just abandon, you know, just sort of, what's the saying? You know, just abandoning your inhibitions, I guess. And going for it. Because the reward is far too sweet. You know, when you've already had a taste of something, it's really hard to forget something, especially something as sweet as the lovers, especially something so divine and perfect. You know, it's one thing to lust, you know, the attention of another. But how many times, and I'm just speaking, you know, for real talk to anyone out there, you know, my feminines who, you know, kind of like when you're crushing on somebody or you just feel really drawn to somebody, you find them really sexy, you know, but it's all in the lure, it's all in the allure of this person, this mystery, and you don't really know this person. That's like the most exciting part, because I swear to God, 9 times out of 10, you do taste the fruit. You know, you do go in and experience someone intimately, sexually, and, you know, if it's not there, it's just not there. You know, you can't really make that shit up. And then you're just kind of like, damn, okay, got all hot and bothered for nothing. You know, we've all been through it. But when you find someone who, you know, there's just this, there's the lure, you know, and allure to something, but it's something more inexplicable. It isn't that, you know, they're really pretty or, you know, got big boobs, or, you know, bad ass, you know, or whatever, you know, attracted to a man, you know, he's got this real smooth style, or, you know, really, really good smile and really nice teeth, or he's just like suave, and, you know, that's something that might lure you in, but maybe you get a taste and it's just off, incompatible, you know. But the Lovers is really something that speaks to ultimate compatibility. Like the chemistry of a kiss. You know, when a kiss tastes really good, you know, like really sweet. It's not always the case, you know, but with that right person, it's like the chemical makeup of it's gonna sound gross, but the chemical makeup, you know, in your saliva, in theirs, is compatible. You know, there's a sweetness to it, and it's unforgettable. And you can gallivant around and try to find that connection in others, you know. If the pursuit is that alluring, you know, it just feels like more of a distraction. If you're pulled and being lured in by something that has no sweetness at the end of that lure, then at some point you're going to have to accept that, you know, that hot pursuit towards some lustful conquest, you just sort of, you have no choice but to see it for what it is, you know, and really help yourself to contain your energy, to contain your sexual energy, and reserve it for something where there is a reward, where there is sweetness, you know. And I'm just being drawn to say that, you know, a lot of times people, masculine and feminine, can kind of just pull apart, lose each other somewhere along the way. It's like hearing too close for comfort, you know. There is no allure. It is all just, you know, there's no mystery. You all are just kind of enmeshed in each other's energies all the time. I think is breeding grounds for codependency, you know. So moving forward, and I think this is part of our divine feminine, our overall energy here is the King of Swords, really just reminding you that moving forward, in order to develop and cultivate a healthy relationship, you need to figure out how to keep a healthy distance, you know, from your own emotions, to be aware of your emotional intelligence and feel emotions as they come up, but also to take a beat and figure out how best to respond, as opposed to immediately reacting based on whatever emotions bubble up. And to not let yourself become your emotions. Alright, I'm kind of getting off track there. And strength. Yeah. None of this is easy. By any means, none of this is easy. All of this has to do with remaining connected to the divine. You know, the strength card depicts a lion, which is like the beast, right? That just simply survives and thrives even on their primitive impulses. But the divine figure is sort of this, you know, this woman is a representation of a divine entity, a figure, an angel, if you will, that is able to insert pauses that allow the lion to respond as opposed to react. And I say that because, you know, approach a lion, you know, don't tempt him to react and maul you, you know, to assert his dominance. But see here, the lion is just a house cat, you know, is really responding to this angelic being and accepting that there's nothing to be afraid of, and is truly trusting that this being is not there to hurt him, or is not something that he needs to assert his dominance over. 40 minutes. Alright, let's see what else. Holy Spirit, thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else that you would have? Anything else that you'd like to speak to the Divine Feminine about right now? This wellness check. Any messages that are going to help us move forward in grace and peace? This is really powerful. I have the Six of Swords and also the Six of Cups. This is literal evolution. Emotional intelligence at its finest. You could know your ultimate end destination, right? It might be directly straight ahead. But in order to get straight ahead, you have to abandon ship. You have to move on. You have to let go. You have to let go of this King of Cups right now. You know, in order for it all to come back together. In order to revive that sweetness. The letting go, you know, space is grace. When you let go, you're able to redirect your energy, redirect your focus into something that is meaningful and that has everything and only everything to do with you, with your direction, with your divine path, remaining in connection to your highest pursuit. And now's the time to get creative. Now's the time to really sink in, you know, really get to know your ambitions, really get to know your heart, really get to know what means something to you, and use this time, use this pain, you know, use your strength to move away from it and trust that it is being worked on from both ends. You know, from a higher perspective, it's in the divine's hands. And the more you tamper with it, it's just going to prolong the inevitable. So, just take 100 steps back. You know, every time you feel prompted to give or show up for this King of Cups, take a beat, take a pause, take some space, and then consider giving yourself that same, you know, consider giving yourself that time, that energy, that attention, and in all positive ways. Get some rest, take a nice shower, cook a nice meal for yourself, buy yourself a really nice necklace, or just something that is going to make you feel loved and appreciated and cared for. This is the time to start creating those habits for yourself, to start recognizing yourself as somebody who really does aim for self-care. Okay. So you need to move away from this. Yes, the memories are there. Yes, the nostalgia is there. Yes, there's a great magnetism, desire to get back to what you know, right? But the truth of the reality is that there is no going back, right? But be honest with yourself. You know, if it was all everything before, we wouldn't be in this position, right? We have 3 kings here. This is ascension. and the Emperor. The masculine is ascending, right? But allow him space, allow him time to investigate what he needs to investigate, and remain hands off. Simply, his business is not your business right now. Let me put it like this, you know? Do what you need to do, and trust that the energy that you create, by the actions that you take, by how you give back to yourself, it creates a whole different energy that you will have no, you know, that you will just simply emanate. You know, you just simply emit this completely transformed energy when you start to give back to yourself. And the King of Wands here is somebody who certainly does take action. You know, of all the kings, will jump up from his throne to make something happen. So, allow it. You know what you need to do. Remove yourself from your reactionary, you know, emotions. Remove yourself. Literally remove yourself when you feel triggered to react in a low vibrational, you know, way. Just remove yourself. You know it's not forever. But do it wholly, do it completely, and find something better to do. Find something positive to do with your energy. Don't give it away. Alright, Divine Feminines. This has been really nice, really lovely. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back very soon. This feels far too good. I'm gonna make a habit of this, so thank you again. This channel is going to be evolving, I have a feeling, very quickly, so please subscribe, please stay tuned, join this little crew, this Real Talk crew. You know, you make it any, you know, just as much as I do, so come on in. Alright, you guys, have a great night. Do something nice for yourself. I love you.